Hey everybody, this is Robert from Black Belt Gaming. Knightmare Chess. This is a game I've had in my collection for a long time. I can't exactly recall the release date, but if I checked over the reference material, I'm sure I could find out. This is a game that I don't know if it's still in print, but I've been seeing a couple of, a little bit of buzz about it. I wonder if it's trying to make a comeback. This is a game that was put out by Steve Jackson Games, and I've played this a number of times over the years with my wife as I taught her how to play chess, and then we started including some of these Knightmare Chess cards. It's been an absolute blast. They came out with this original set, and then later on they came out with a second set, Knightmare Chess 2. And as you can see, I have both of these. They can either be played separately or shuffled together into one set. Well, let me show you what this is about. Well, inside the box you have this rule sheet. It's just one page front and back. But I just saw something that I've never seen before. I've never really taken the time to read it that closely. But look at the Playtesters. Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons & Dragons First Edition there, you know, that I have my other series on. Very interesting. Very easy to play. Move a piece, play a card. Chess will never be the same. Well, chess is a two-player game, so what you do is you take the stack of cards that come in the box, you sort of deal them out between the two players, and then each player selects 150 points of cards to create their play deck. And you can change the number if you want to. With more points, you can play a card every turn. With fewer, you'll have to sort of save the cards for that special moment. Well, here are the cards. They're a little larger than a normal size card you might find in some other deck building games or living card games. A little bit longer, a little bit slimmer here, and if I remember, the artwork on these was good. It's at times creepy and sometimes actually a little dark and a little bit hard to see sometimes, but it never really took away from the game. You just need to take a look down here at the text and what the card does. And up here in the corner is the point value. So putting this card, Merciless, in your hand or your play deck will take up 9 of that 150 points. So let's imagine we've set up our chessboard, we've divided the card into 2 equal stacks. Now each player will take their stack and look through and select the cards they want to make up their deck of 150 points. Any cards that you don't use are put back into the box. Well, are you prepared to see the most amazing chess set you've ever seen? There it is. That's all I could get here with me over here in Japan. I could have bought a set here, but I was back visiting my parents in the States and just picked up this little magnetic chess set I had in storage, and I thought, well, that's easy to bring back this way, so here it is. I think it's good enough. It will actually fits kind of nicely in the camera view here, but it'll allow us to see how the game works at least. Well, when you're starting your game, you take the top 5 cards. These are the cards you've chosen, and they've been shuffled into a play deck. The other unused cards go here. You're going to have a discard pile, so after you play a card, it goes into your discard pile. Alright, the game begins. The light side here will go first, and we get to decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to play a card or just make a regular old boring move? No, let's play a card. Let's play Onslaught. This is a 6-point card. You see the artwork, you just see people rushing forward, charging into battle. What does it do? It says any number of your pawns which can legally move may all move 1 square forward. None of them may make a capture. Play this card on your move instead of making a regular move. So the king yells, "Charge!" And then there you go, the whole front row here of pawns is going to move 1 space forward. Alright, so here's my draw deck. Here is the card I just played. That goes into my discard pile. And I still am here with, let's see, I would be here with 4 cards, and I would need to draw a 5th to replace that one, and this becomes my new hand for play. Now some traditionalist, hardcore chess players will probably tear out their hair at how these cards can change the game. I mean, look at that, I moved an entire row of pieces. But people who want to spice things up and have a fun time playing chess in a very non-traditional manner, Knightmare Chess is great for that. It just adds a whole new level of madness and unpredictability to the game. But there are some limitations. Let's take a look at those. Well, when you're playing the game, you may play 1 card on your turn. You can also play 1 card on your opponent's turn. So what kind of card would do that? You saw how Onslaught would work on my turn, but let's take a look at something like Knightmare. Knightmare costs 10 points to be in your deck. It's kind of the face of the cover of the game, so this must be a pretty good card. It says your opponent's move is cancelled. He must make a different move with the same piece or with another one. If he used a card, he may take it back. Play this card immediately after your opponent's move. So there you go. That's how you play a card on your opponent's move. You can only play 1. So 1 card on your turn, 1 card on your opponent's turn. If you want to play a card at all, you don't have to. Remember that after you play a card, it goes into your discard pile, and you draw a new card to replace that one. However, there are some cards that have a continuous effect, and those go on a different place somewhere around the board so that they can be remembered. Well, here's one to surely shake things up, pun intended. This is a 4-point card to have in your deck, Earthquake. You can see the artwork here. It says turn the chessboard at right angles, clockwise or counterclockwise. Pawns still move away from the owner. Any pawn in the new last rank is promoted. Your opponent promoting first. A pawn in its new first rank can move 1 or 2 squares forward. Play this card immediately after your move. It has a continuing effect until the end of the game. If the continuing effect is undone, the board is turned back, and pawns in the new first and last ranks are affected as above. So this will turn the board and remain in effect unless something causes this card to be discarded. So I don't really have a good setup to demonstrate all of this, but while you're playing the game, you play this Earthquake card, you can turn the chessboard. And let's say I wanted to turn it this way for some reason. Pawns are now going to start moving in this direction. And if I have a pawn up here, it will be promoted. Remember, when you get a pawn across the board, it can be promoted. So we can change that to a different piece. And then at the very end it says that a pawn in its new first rank can move 1 or 2 squares forward. So we can move this guy right here since he was back down here on the bottom. So Earthquake really changes things up. It doesn't go into the discard pile. It stays over here on the side to remind everyone why things are as crazy as they are. There are some cards that actually transform a piece, changing it into something else. And those are also continuing effect cards. So let's say one of the pawns did something brave on the battlefield and was turned into a knight. Well, you just need to mark it somehow. You can use a coin, a poker chip. Sometimes I would even take one of these little twisting ties here that you might find on a new cord, or you know, bread or something like that, a bag of bread or something, and twist that around the neck of the piece to help me identify which piece had been changed. It just says if a transformed piece is captured and then immediately rescued on that move or the following one by the play of a card, it keeps its special powers. If a card returns the piece to play later, it returns as the original type of piece, so it would return back as a regular pawn if it were saved later in the game. The checkmate rule, this is kind of the king of all rules in this Knightmare Chess. No card that you play may directly cause a checkmate situation, or, you know, the capture of a king. So your cards can change the game around, but you still need to make a legal move to win the game. It can't be just because you played a card and then all of a sudden, boop, you won the game. It can't be done that way. So if you play a card that breaks this rule, it has no effect. It's still considered play, and the player must discard it and draw a new card. So just keep that one in mind. Some things that cause a continuing effect that might help somebody win the game or whatever, that card is fine. So Earthquake is in play, and if that somehow helps you make a move to win, then that's okay. So if we had played a card that promoted a pawn to a knight, and we kind of marked, maybe we still had our other two knights on the board, and we somehow marked this pawn as, you know, he was the promoted one, and then he used his knight-like move to checkmate the king, that's fine. That's a continuing effect. He's still using his regular powers. No problem there. And as you can see, if you run into any conflicts, just remember the checkmate rule takes precedence over everything. When a card conflicts with any other rule or the rules of chess, the card takes precedent. When two cards appear to conflict, the last card play takes precedence. So it helps you work out some of those crazy situations that maybe they didn't catch during playtesting, or maybe there just wasn't a way to clearly write those exceptions into the rules. So this is a way to do that and be ready for almost anything that might come up. Well, why don't we take a look at just some of the cards so you'll have an idea of what some things are in the deck. This is the original deck now, Knightmare Chess #1. Holy War. This allows you to swap the position of one of your knights and one of your bishops. Ghost Walk. On this move, one of your pieces gains the ability to pass through your own pieces. So it may not pass through enemy pieces, and it must end its move in an empty space without capturing. Its move must be otherwise legal. So if you've got a piece that you really want to advance, but it's blocked by your other friendly pieces, then Ghost Walk can help you out. Treason for 8 points. It says swap the positions of a rook and a knight belonging to your opponent. So you can kind of mess up their strategy. Challenge, a 6-point card, and it says choose a type of piece except the king or queen. On his next move, your opponent must use a piece of that type, or they lose their turn. You may not name a piece that your opponent does not possess or cannot legally move. So another way you can tinker with your opponent's strategy. This one's really cool. Hidden Passage. It's a 10-point card. You see the king kind of going through the underground passage there. It says, move your king to any unoccupied square of the chessboard. That could really come in handy at times. I used to really like this one, Fireball. You may see that there is a little red star there beside the 10. That means that you can only have one of these in your deck. Some people might buy more than one set and try to accumulate a bunch of their favorite cards in one play deck. But you can only have one of these in your stack to use during the game. For Fireball, it says play this card after any move which does not capture an opposing piece. The piece you moved explodes and is removed from play along with all the other pieces in the 8 adjacent squares, whatever their color. The pieces are regarded as captured. Kings are not affected. I always thought that one was really cool. Well, there you have it, an introduction to Knightmare Chess. The second set, as it says here, it's more chaos on the chessboard. It comes prepared in a similar manner. You've got your little one-page booklet and all of your cards there to add to your game. And like it says, this set can be played by itself or with the original Knightmare Chess. Complete rules are included. And I have to tell you, I've really enjoyed playing chess with these cards. Just as a gamer and as a role player, just the added excitement to the game that really fits with the theme. It's really cool. So I understand they may be coming out possibly with a new version of this game that takes some cards from each of these sets. I don't know the facts on that. Maybe there's some official statement about it somewhere. I'm assuming it's still coming out from Steve Jackson Games, but I have the old cards here and just wanted to share it with you in case you hear Knightmare Chess in the future and you wonder what it's about. Certainly recommended by me. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you later.